this is Mike Lindsay, and welcome to episode 3 of the Off-Camber Podcast, presented by Specialized. This week's guest is Davi Millsaps, and honestly, tracking down Davi was a little bit unique. He's maybe not where most people would expect to find a retired motocross and supercross star. He is hanging out in Arizona, in Lake Havasu City. That's where he's pretty much retired to. I was in town, had the opportunity to catch up with him because I hadn't seen him since before what ended up being his career-ending injury in the preseason leading up to the 2018 Supercross season. He's got a major, I guess you'd label like concussion, almost like kind of a, I guess it basically is a brain injury at this point. He walks us through kind of the recovery process. He's now a year and a half since the injury itself, and he's still dealing with some symptoms and some stuff he's trying to come back from. He walks us through all of that. Talking about, changes in his personality, even a dark moment in his life where he said he wouldn't have cared to, have not gone on due to what he was dealing with that injury. On to retired life, BMX life with his kid, and just a little bit about some past questions I've always wanted to ask him about his career. But before we jump into that conversation, I'd like to thank the 3 brands that make this podcast happen. We are presented by Specialized, the all-new Turbo Levo, giving riders the power to ride more trails. The Big S supports a lot of people in this sport. If you're looking for a bicycle, chances are they have what you are looking for. Check them out at specialized.com. Next up is Fox Racing. We've been talking about the last couple weeks. They have their spring release out, their new airline gear. Ken Roxon was rocking the limited edition mint this past weekend. Ice. And we also have a black chrome and a red magenta from those guys. Check it out at foxracing.com. Also, while you're there, if you're a mountain bike guy, check out the new Rampage Carbon Pro. They've got an all-new helmet with some pretty unique technology in there. Check it out. Also, shapmoto.com. Chaparral Motorsports has been in business for over 30 years. Whether it's dirt bikes, quads, side-by-side, street bikes, name it, they've got it. Gear, accessories, huge dealership, great online presence with Shapmoto. And if you throw in the code ML512 at checkout, you'll even save a few dollars on your next purchase. Now we're going to jump into our conversation with Davi Millsaps. Also, I'm going to quickly apologize. I think the audio is pretty good on this episode. There's a few points, though, where we're moving around the mics and you can hear a little bit of clicking. I'm mostly going to blame Davi for that one. Hey, this is Mike Lindsay. Welcome to another episode of the Off-Camber Podcast, presented by Specialized. I'm in Lake Havasu, Arizona, and I wouldn't think I'd be able to track down a professional motocross rider while I'm there, but I did. What the heck are you doing here?
I live here, and it's Lake Havasu City.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's get that a little more correct there. But yeah, so how long your wife's originally from here, right?
She moved here, I think, when she was like 8, from what I gathered. But after I got hurt and then retired, we already had a house here. We ended up selling it and getting a new one to where it's going to be, our retirement home. And I've been here since then, man. It's almost a year and a half since I've been here. So it's crazy.
Well, no, that was kind of the game plan. I was pelling with you and A-Ray a little bit there before your injury. I know you were talking about you had like everything for sale, and this was pretty much no matter what would have happened per se last year was in. This is what you were going to be doing this year anyways, was hanging out here.
Yeah, man, it was before I got hurt, we had the house up for sale in California, and if it was to have sold and I was still racing, I was going to motorhome it. I was going to motorhome life and just travel and do what I wanted to do in a motorhome and whatnot. I didn't need a house. I was by myself. The wife and kids would have been out here in Havasu, and we would have seen each other on the weekends. So
you could have lived on the backside of the lake with A-Ray for a while.
I actually, believe it or not, it was part of maybe a goal to RV it together, like next to each other, and just go from there. So it was it's gonna be fun. At least I had someone to hang out with.
You need to, because that was a pretty Jose's one buddy was living with him in the back. I stopped by there a few times. It's a little rough right there.
And they were in Elsinore though.
I would have hoped you would have picked a little bit higher end place to park the rig.
I was thinking Corona, the one right there by the test tracks, I guess isn't too bad.
Careful, that one has a nudist colony behind it. It does. Oh, let's move on. Okay. So let's get past that part. Anyway, so for people that don't know, I mean, people kind of know like what happened to you last year. You had a major wreck preseason, And that was it. And I mean, in the sense, that was lights out for you. I got a text from somebody the day it happened. I remember I had to hit up A-Ray and he wouldn't spill. Hey, your boy wouldn't spill the beans, but I had heard you were like KO'd for like 10 minutes or something ridiculous.
I don't know exactly how long it was. There's only one person there. Hutch was there, and I don't remember how long I was out for. I wasn't timing it, but he wanted to say somewhere between probably 8 to 10 minutes from what I gathered, and that one did me in pretty good. It was only realistically my third concussion of my career as far as being knocked out. The first one being 2007 in Vegas. I was out for like a minute and a half or 2 minutes, something like that. Bodner would know. And then the other one, 2010, when I lost my kidney as well. But this one did me in rather good. It just and I shattered my elbow and tore my ACL and my LCL along with it. My elbow's still not cool. But all in all, still dealing with some brain stuff here and there, and trying to get back to normal again.
Well, I was saying the elbow, I remember you weren't able to actually have surgery on your elbow for quite a while because they didn't want to put you under anesthesia or any of that stuff, huh?
Yeah, I had to wait, I think, 6 weeks or 7 weeks before I could actually have surgery on it. And it was disintegrated. So I had to walk around basically with a disintegrated elbow. And by that time, it didn't bother me all that much. I just got used to the pain and went from there. But yeah, as far as my elbow goes, I mein, they cut me from here all the way down and I ripped the tricep from the bone as well, so they had to reattach it. It wasn't as bad as K-Rock's, no, but I did it good.
Between that and your
I just had no lime in there. I had no lime in my bloodstream.
Oh jeez. Between that and your leg, you like to mess stuff up, I guess, if you're gonna do it.
If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. Why not?
Your kids are at the age too. I know they're both pretty energetic. So was that one where you're looking like, don't freaking touch me, like, because your elbow every day you had to be careful on the kids?
No, the first month after I got hurt, I don't remember. So I don't remember what I was doing, anything from the time I got hurt until a month after. I came here, I think 2 weeks after or something like that, to see my kids, but I don't know that much. And then as it went on, I wasn't allowed to do much with my elbow. I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't push anything. So I was really one-handed for 6 weeks. And then I flew out to Colorado to have it done because no one where I went to would touch it. No one would touch my elbow. So I had to go to see Dr. Viola at the Stedman Clinic, who did Roxon's as well, just to see, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Just come see me. So that's where I went. Might
be the new moto guy. I know. I think he had to do Ames recently with Ames had like compartment syndrome and some messed up stuff too. John had to go up there and get fixed up.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude. So I was pumped that I got to see him because he did my double wrist surgery too before I got hurt. Because after Supercross, I couldn't deal with it anymore. So he went in and did my double wrist surgery and dude was a miracle worker. And then I got hurt and saw him again.
Well, I remember the wrist. I'm trying to think. I think it must have been before you had him fixed. And I went cycling one day, and you were like saying if you even hit like a crack in the freaking ground, it hurt.
Yeah, because they were just destroyed. I had nothing left on my wrist. So eventually they had to be fused.
Still gonna do it right.
You gotta do it right. You gotta do it right. They eventually have to get fused, but I'm hoping by that time I can deal with it to where there's a really, really, really good joint replacement for wrist, and then I'll have that done.
Go. Yeah, you got your knees, your hips can be done. We're just waiting for wrist days.
We need better hips. We need better knees.
Most moto guys that can't do this anymore need a wrist. Though.
Yeah, no, I see. I can't. I don't want to do like that. I can still bend my wrist, but I don't want to fuse them.
So little touch back on the actual crash. So you don't remember the whole month? Was Hutch Watt like? Is there an explanation of what the heck happened? Like where you crashed, or Hutch? Nobody really saw it because you said Hutch only one track. So
Hutch was the only one there. There was never really, told to me what exactly happened. It was one of those things that, I didn't have my GoPro on. There was nothing there, and no one would tell me anything other than, I hit my head. So,
obviously.
And I'm like, yeah, I got that. All in all, it sucked too because that was the day that I crashed. I mean, I got that bike so good. It was probably the best that I had felt, realistically in a long time. And just from being healthy, having both my wrists done and probably being one of the best shapes of my life. It was very unfortunate for me because 18 was going to be probably my last year anyway. So I was giving it everything I had. And I had 3 laps left that day. I had 3 laps left for the entire day. And it ended short.
Yeah, definitely ended everything short. So you were all in because like I said, I remember you talking about the house. It wasn't, you hear guys some years, your boy Marty. It's the last year. No, you were there. That was it. You were putting all eggs in one basket.
I mean, look, man, that would have been my 15th year racing and professionally. And I wanted to give it everything I had for my last year and try to go out with a bang. I missed out on a lot of opportunities to get the number 1 plate. And I was going to do everything I possibly could and put everything into it. That way, when I stepped away at the end of 18, there was no, I should have done this or I should have done that. I already look back now and, there's a lot of different things throughout my professional career that, I should have done different things. But I didn't want that in 2018. And unfortunately, I was never able to get it, but, it is what it is.
Were we to the point, say I think a lot of people think as your best year was with the Rockstar Suzuki team, did you feel like you were on par with that or above that even? Say where you kind of were at that preseason.
I love Bobby. I love Scuba. I love Forrest and I love JR, and they gave me absolutely everything that I could ever ask for. And I felt amazing in 2013 with Bobby and Scuba and that whole, Rockstar Energy team. And then with Forrest and and the Rocky Mountain team, it was I wasn't able to deliver for them, unfortunately. I got 5th in points, but I mean that is what it is. But it was more so I wasn't able to deliver what I wanted to, just due to injuries after injuries after injuries. So the day I got hurt, I actually felt on par, if not better than I did in 13, in the off season, should I say. So it was a hard pill to swallow. After I realized what had happened, it was a hard pill to swallow. I guess everyone was texting me that day I got hurt or whatnot and calling me, and I told them I was still on my way to the track or I was still riding or, I don't know what they're talking about. And people, everyone, every once in a while they'll tell me about those old stories, and I just like, God, man, it's like I'm sitting in an ambulance or sitting in a hospital. Like, of course I'm not going riding, but I didn't know what I was doing. But so for me, it was unfortunate that it had happened like it did, and because I did feel, not only did I feel good on the bike, but like I said, I was probably in one of the best shapes of my life off the dirt bike. I miss it now. I miss being in shape. I don't have the motivation to want to get in shape. I don't like going through it right now. I've done that my entire life. It's just, but I do miss that.
Well, I say, I think just even from when me and you chatted yesterday for a quick minute, there's some limitations there are limitations right now still left over from a year and a half ago. I mean, put it bluntly, I think you told me the first time you've ridden a motorcycle since that day was you rode around on a play bike the other day with your daughter. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
You haven't been able to touch a dirt bike. It's not even as much by choice. You shouldn't really per se, I guess.
So Atlanta Supercross last year was the last time that I rode out on a dirt bike until on the floor. Never did anything. I had my son on the front. And then on Wednesday this past week, I was out with my in-laws and my nephew and Dane, and he was riding out there in the desert, and my daughter was there and she wanted to go for a ride. So I took her on the bike and went for a ride with her, and that was the first time I had touched a dirt bike in a year, basically almost exactly a year. So I mean it felt good. It felt, it didn't feel like I was a fish out of water or anything, but still dealing with my vision problems, still dealing with the jolting of my brain. When I ride a road bike, the couple times I did, if I hit obviously road bikes aren't super smooth, so hitting that like jars my brain, starts to give me, makes my head hurt and makes my vision go haywire. And then I could do mountain biking. I enjoy mountain biking, which is weird because it doesn't really bother me because I'm standing up more and there's suspension.
You're more of a flow, like I said. Road bike, you get those little sharp jolts that just keep hitting you. Especially, I just did road ride. Like the island road's
rough.
crap here. The roads here
It's
are just
rough.
chattery. I haven't found much of a smooth spot, and they're tearing up half a town on one.
You
end.
need the 20. You need the 28 wheels.
Yeah.
28 tires.
I was on
say.
28s, and I still wish I had like 30. I was like looking around, and go, man, I should be on a gravel bike right now, like 32.
You need it. Mountain bikes are fine for the road out here.
Yeah.
But for me, dealing with mountain bike, it's more so my vision. Sometimes it's fantastic. Sometimes I can't see the rocks in front of me, and I have to slow up or whatnot. But they told me somewhere around the 2-year mark I should be back to somewhat normal. All that should go away. If it's not, then they can fix my vision with LASIK, which is still strange to me. But I'm kind of praying that between a year and a half will be next month. So I'm hoping that between that, in the 2-year mark, I might wake up one day and be bam, be awake again. So I've heard stories like that all the time. Everyone I've been talking to, they were in a coma or they were knocked out for so long, they thought they were normal, and then a year and a half or so long afterwards, they're like, I'm back. So I'm waiting for that moment. If it never comes, I'll be pissed.
Let's get better, because there's a certain point where if you live with something long enough, it kind of becomes your new normal. Yeah. Can you still tell that other than the child, other than the vision size or anything, emotional, anything else in your life, where you can tell, I'm just not there, like what I used to be?
I have personality traits that are a little bit different. I have emotions that are a little bit different. And that, I think, to me, I can deal with my vision. I can still see. Sometimes I can't see very well, but I can still see. The emotional side of things and the personality traits, for me, are probably the biggest things that I'm trying to cope with. And to get over and to figure out how to live with them at the moment. But from what the doctor had said, or the doctors that I had seen, the part of my brain that is dealing with that, there should not have been any permanent damage that they can see. So that will come back over time. The more permanent damage that what they found was around the motor skills part of my brain. And that's one of the big reasons why they couldn't release me back to racing. Obviously, I need motor skills to ride a dirt bike. And if something was to happen, it can come back on them. So even if I wanted to go race right now, I wouldn't let myself. There's just no way. I would want to heal up completely before I let myself get back on a dirt bike.
At what point into the injury did you understand that racing was over? Was it obvious immediately, or was there a certain point during it you were like, no, I'm coming back. I'm going to get another shot at this. Or was it pretty aware to you quick, yeah, we're done? No,
it was one of those things where, the first 3 months, I want to say the 2 and 3 month mark for me, because that's all I really remember. Yeah. It was really lethargic. I was super lethargic. I was just tired. I didn't have any of the vision problems. I didn't have any of from what I know, I didn't have any vision problems. And as far as the emotions and personality traits, I was just really tired. I just wanted to sleep. That's all I felt I was dealing with. And as soon as that kind of subsided, everything else popped up for me. And when that happened, it was more so, okay, well, it won't be long, it'll be all right. I gotta let it heal, give it some time. And, almost a year and a half later, it's still there. So, I've done a lot of brain treatments. I've done a lot of stuff for my brain. Just maybe I need to be more consistent and do more of it. But it wasn't a time right after it hit my head anytime soon until I really realized that there's no more. Especially when I went and met with the doctor, and he's like, there's just no way I can release you. That right there was the nail in the coffin for me. It was at that time where I'm just like, if he's not going to release me, how am I going to get away with it? How am I going to come back and race? Because one of the people that was in the hospital with me, I guess, actually works for the Asterix Mobile Medical Unit. Yeah. So there's no way for me to get around any of it, because he knew exactly what had happened. And as bad as my brain was, they weren't going to release me unless I had a note from the doctor. So that wasn't going to happen.
So from one side, you say, they're telling you at the 2-year mark, you really should be back to normal, which of course sounds like a good case. And you're like, while you definitely got knocked out, maybe it's not that overall bad injury. But in the other extent of talking to doctors, how close was this to being, did they give you any info they're amazed you're in the condition you are? Was there any of those you're lucky to be here kind of moments? You got doctors really looking at you going,
That was all of them. The doctors that I saw, they're pretty much saying that me standing here in front of them or being where I'm at, I should just be thankful that I'm alive. Because most of the time, that the type of injury that I had, and from everything they could see, the damage that I had and how long I was out for, where I hit and how it ricocheted around my skull. They're basically, their words to me was like, it just usually just rips the brain from the stem and you die. There was no sugarcoating it for me. So they're like, you being here, you should be thankful that you're just alive. And I understand, I get it. It was a bad impact, and realistically and no lie, me wearing that, the helmet that I was wearing saved my life, hands down. If it wasn't for that helmet, I more than likely probably wouldn't be here. So I'm pumped that I was wearing that helmet. Yeah, it was the Bell helmet, 100%. But I'm thankful, and even the doctors told me that. So, but.
At the same time, is it weird to hear from a doctor like, hey, you're lucky to be alive, but when you're dealing with a bunch of stuff, do you ever go through emotional roller coasters with you? You're like, I don't feel that lucky, like when you're dealing with this stuff.
Yeah, there was the first times in my life that I felt like it'd be easier to jump off a bridge, hands down. Just rather than dealing with what I had in my head and what was going on, and I literally, the first time in my life that I wasn't able to handle it and deal with it, it just felt like it'd be easier just to go. And those thoughts are no longer there. And it, I talked to people about it, and most people who have had bad brain injuries, and TBIs and stuff like that, sometimes those suicidal thoughts come to your head. And no, I don't have CTE. I'm on a different wavelength of CTE. I have micro concussions all over my brain, but not as bad as what you would see in CTE. For me, it's more so just figuring out, figuring out how to deal with what I was dealing with, and what got me through was my family, and my kids, and doing what I'm doing with them, and waking up and seeing my daughter smile, because she's always right next to me, because it's daddy's girl. But my wife and my kids got me through all this, and they still are.
So speaking of that, we were talking about the other day. I've been seeing you post stuff on Instagram about staying busy with Dane with BMX, but I didn't realize you're like running the BMX track out here now. So you are full in this.
I'm not a moto dad yet, but yeah, I'm full BMX with Dane. He enjoys it. I'm the president of the Lake Havasu City BMX. I do not run it as far as track operator goes. That job's on Chino. But we're there Tuesdays, Thursdays. Dane races Tuesday, Thursdays. And then we're gone usually on the weekend doing nationals or Gold Cup or state races for Dane. And yeah, Bryn does it too, but she's more of the she did a national in Vegas, and literally where everyone was cheering for her, she was like almost stopping and looking and trying to smile and wave at them almost. So she's more worried about that, and it's so funny. Everyone that watches her, they just get a kick out of how much she doesn't really care about racing. She just wants to go out and have fun and do her thing. We call her kind of our hippie. She's just out there chilling. But no, yeah, I'm beyond busy with Dane and his BMX. So, he rides for the team throwdown now. So he's on the team. So we're traveling a lot more, and they've taken care of him the last few weekends because he just got on it. So he's all excited about it, and he's doing good. So I'm not going to stop him. And yes, I know I did say he would never get a dirt bike. I lost a bet. He has a dirt bike, and he is racing Works tomorrow. So yeah.
Who'd you lose a bet with?
Him.
You lost a bet with a kid?
Yes, a very expensive bet.
What was the bet? Was it the typical parent bribing somebody to go? Was it, if you win this BMX race, you get a dirt bike, or?
So, it was more so it was for the state championship that he was racing, and him and this kid Jonah were going back and forth, but he could never once beat Jonah out the gate. He could never beat Jonah out of the gate, and he'd either have to pass Jonah or Jonah would win. So we go for the final. Like, this is whoever wins this is basically state champ. Dane got gate 8, Jonah got gate 1. So Dane's kind of like, oh, yeah. So gate 8 would be worse. He's kind of melting, well, not crying, but just like so super bummed. So I just basically, I said, hey, look, if you beat him out of the gate and you win, I'll buy you whatever dirt bike you want. Because I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get one of the two. Because Jonah's killer out of the gate. Like, Jonah's killer out of the gate. So I was expecting Jonah to beat him, but maybe Dane would, want that bike so bad that he would somehow pass him. I was expecting not to have to buy it at the end of the day. And I don't know if Jonah had a bad gate or if Dane decided to pick it up off the gate, but Dane beat him off the gate and Dane won. I'm just sitting there like, dang it. Come on. So yeah, I mean, that was pretty much why he got a dirt bike. And, like, honestly, like, he's never beat him off the gate. He raced him probably 5 or 6 times and could not beat him one time off the gate. And the one time he decides to beat him is for a dirt bike. Like, son of a gun. So, yep, that was that story. Never bet your son.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break from our conversation with Davi Millsaps. Once again, I'd like to thank the 3 brands that make this podcast happen. First up is Specialized. The all-new Turbo Levo is giving riders the power to ride more trails. My opinion, e-bikes are pretty awesome. I've gotten some family members out on them that normally would not be able to go on a full-size mountain bike ride with me. They're excellent training tools. Check them out at specialized.com. Fox Racing, they have their spring line out with the Airline gear. It's their vented gear. Really top-of-the-line set from them. Their guys have been rocking it the last few weeks. They still have the limited edition ice available, the production black chrome, and they have a red kind of magenta. All those are available now on foxracing.com, or you can also jump over to shopmoto.com and pick them up. Throw in the code ML512 at checkout to save yourself a few dollars, because Shopro Motorsports has been in this industry for more than 30 years. Dirt bikes, quads, side-by-sides, you name it, they've got it. All the parts and accessories to go with it. Now we're going to jump back into our conversation with Davi Millsaps. So, betting your kid for a bike, how pumped was your wife on that?
No, she wasn't too pumped on it. She wasn't too pumped, but now he's gotten into the habit of, well, hey, if I win this, can I have this? Or if I win this, let's go here. So now I've lost Dave and Buster's. So now I got to take him to Dave and Buster's. I got to take him to Topgolf.
At least you can have fun at
I'm not buying a dirt bike, so I'm all right with taking him to Topgolf because I can play too.
Yeah.
And then say with Dave and Buster's, he's only been there one time in his life.
Yeah.
So I'll take him there.
But no more dirt bike bets.
No. No more dirt bike bets. He did win an electric scooter, but that's okay anyway because I need an electric scooter for November when we go to Grands, because I heard that you have to have an electric scooter just to cruise around.
So what I'm seeing here is a trend of where you start betting him stuff that you need, but your wife won't let you get. So there you go. Then it's technically for the kid because he won the bet and did well.
I've been looking that cycle board up a lot, man. That thing is bad, and I want one really bad. I just don't know if that's in the budget for a BMX bet.
What is it?
The cycle board.
Oh, okay.
They're out of California.
Yeah.
Dude, it goes like 40 miles. I can cruise around everywhere here in town.
Pretty much the size I have, so you can do a full loop here.
I can do everything here. So, yeah, it's obviously I'm not going that route because it's out of the budget for BMX betting.
Oh, man. Are you surprised? Because, I mean, I think a lot of guys that have been through the ringers with family and racing and minis are always like, oh, I don't want to be the main dad. I don't want my kid in that. But, I mean, did you, because of that, I mean, your kid's starting to ride dirt bikes. If he starts to bug you to race those more, where are you at with that?
We're in Havasu. There's one track here.
There's one race a year that comes through.
Yeah, well, there's one track over here by the BMX track. It's called 928.
Oh.
But I mean, if he wants to be anything good on a dirt bike, then we can't live here, and I don't see us moving. So he can go race the desert. He can go do work. So he can go do that stuff. Yeah, and or BMX route too. So whichever one he wants, is at least with BMX and desert, he has an opportunity to go to school, to do other sports, and see which one he really wants to do. Yeah, he's good on a dirt bike. Yeah, he's good on a BMX bike, but he's still only 6. He'll be 7 at the end of May. And, as he gets older, he's going to be doing a lot more things, and I'm going to let him have the choice on what he wants to do. But I'm not uprooting back to Georgia. I'm not uprooting back to California. So if he wants to be a professional motocross racer, then 928's where he's at.
What I know you like cross country, mountain biking, road biking. You want to give him a shot at that once he gets big enough to try out that as well?
He keeps asking me for a mountain bike, which I'm fine with getting him one. But the only other problem is
There's your next bet.
He already has 10 bikes. He'll need another bike.
10 bikes for BMX.
He has a lot. He has a lot of bikes. So he has the ones that I got him and Speedco got him, and then he has the ones that Throwdown just got him. So, and then he has the park bike. Then he has.
Great. So this is looking a lot quicker. Like I'm picturing amateur national of you when you're an amateur with 10 bikes a race, and that's what he looks like now.
No. Yeah. I mean, I would like to get him a mountain bike, maybe for his birthday. Maybe Santa can bring it next year. I don't know. But he keeps telling me he wants to go, but we really don't have that much time. He goes to school. I drop him off at 7:45, and he gets out at 2:30. And Tuesday, Thursdays, we come home. He gets dressed, does his homework, and we go to BMX. We got to be there early. Monday and Wednesday and Friday. Usually Fridays we're leaving for some BMX race, and then Monday and Wednesday might be a chill night. So and I'm not going to go at night. Not going to go in summer because it's 120 degrees. So
picked a great place.
Yeah, it is on the boat with a drink in your hand.
That's what I was saying. You haven't got sick of boat life when you're here all the time yet?
We really didn't get to go on the boat all that much last summer, just simply because my brain.
I would say if you hit a wave.
No, I was all right with the waves, but we didn't go very far. We would just park right there in the channel and or go to one of the beaches down. But it's we're just busy, man. So I usually go when I drop him off, then I leave to go mountain biking.
So looking back on life now versus racing dirt bikes, did you realize you could be this busy when you're done racing dirt bikes?
Dude, it's craziness. I don't have a job yet, and I'm more busy now than I was when I was racing. Just different, I'm not getting up to go mountain bike riding to get into shape. I'm not going, dirt bike riding. I'm not doing workouts. I'm not coming back and doing recovery rides, or, I'm detoxing right now. But I really haven't been on a diet for a year and a half, unfortunately. But I didn't think I'd be this busy, but he really enjoys it. He's got friends in BMX now, and it's nice for him to have friends outside of Havasu or and stuff like that. And Bryn gets to travel and hang out, but I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I enjoy it too. I enjoy going with him. I enjoy watching how determined he is to win, and what he wants to do and how he wants to do it. Literally, everyone gets a kick out of him going into staging. Because let's say there's 214 motos for BMX at a national. He's moto 144. He will be there at moto 60 waiting for his moto. He'll be there at moto 60. Helmet on, ready to go. Will not take his helmet off. Will not get out of staging. Has to be there. And it's literally, everyone gets a kick out of it. It's awesome. But I got to stand there in staging for like an hour before we actually go up. But we're trying to calm him down on that one a little bit. So we'll see. But no, I'm busy, but it's a fun busy. I'm doing it. It's for Dane for sure. So, and I get a kick out of it.
So when you finally get a little bit farther along with your own healing process and everything, I know before this kind of messes up some of the plans, you had been talking more about doing triathlon stuff you like to try. Is that you think still on the radar for you as everything kind of clears up for you?
I have a cardio bucket list that I've had for years, and I still have them. I need to get my knee fixed before I can really start doing a lot of triathlons. But
running sucks.
Running does suck. Yeah, but
I took on a buddy on a stupid 5K for a 100-day straight challenge. I made it to about mid-30s before a shoot, and I gave up. I couldn't. No.
Yeah.
No.
It's terrible. especially where I live, either it's down or up. So I got to run down and then turn around and run all the way back up.
Yeah, that's I can't run out of my house. I'm all up there downhill. I'm looking at myself, I'm like, I'm running so much climb. This is ridiculous. I just need a flat road to go down. My driveway is literally like 800 feet up and down. So just even at the start, you're hosed no matter which direction you go.
I mean, my wife and I went running the other day. Well, I actually take it the other day, probably last month. And we went to run around our house. We ran down, and I couldn't see her anymore. She was gone. But we started running up the hill, and our last hill's long. And I had to stop, and my head was so bad. I started getting super lightheaded, and I started doing this. So I had to stop, calm myself down, and then I could pick it back up again. But yeah, I mean, she was gone. So it was one of those things where I'm like, that sucks. I'm so out of shape. But I do want to do my Ironman. I only want to do one full Ironman.
Ironman, like on the island, you're saying? Like make it to Hawaii Ironman?
No, I only want to do one.
Okay. So you got to qualify.
Because if I qualify, then I got to do two. I only want to do one. So I want to do one in Tempe. I think that's in November. I know it's a qualifier, but I'm hoping I don't qualify because I really don't want to do two full Ironmans.
If you qualify, if
I qualify, then yes, I will more likely do Kona. Which
I think that's a cool bucket list one. Going down the coast of Kona looks pretty cool.
Yeah. And then I want to do...
Don't sound that excited.
I'm excited for the one. I mean, dude, I got to run 26 miles. I can't even run two right now. I want to do Leadville 50, which I did last year before I got hurt.
Just the 50? Come on, do the 100.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I want to do Leadville 50 and then the 100 in the same month. So...
Kansas? Dirty Kansas. 200-mile gravel race in Kansas. Nope, you're off. That one's not on the bucket list.
No, 200? No. No, I'm good with 100.
I got I don't know if you remember from the Inside Shop. You ever met Brian Davis before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brian's in it. He's got this bucket list item, everyone. He did Leadville last year. He keeps giving me these lists of insane events. I'm like, nah.
I did Leadville 50 last year because I didn't qualify for the 100. I didn't do anything leading up to it because I was racing, obviously. But I was... And Pablo's still trying to talk me into doing the 50 and then the stage 100 this year. I'm like, I'm nowhere in shape to do that. But he's still trying to convince me, but we'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of bucket lists that I want to do as far as cardio and stuff like that. But until my brain gets back to 100%, it's not fun for me.
You can't have the motivation to do it when you feel like you can't see your...
Yeah. It's just not only that, but it's, when my heart rate gets up for a long period of time, my brain just gets so bad. So and then Leadville, my heart rate will be really high. Running 26 miles, my heart rate will be high unless I'm walking. So I have to get my head back to normal. If I don't come back to normal and it just heals and I can do that without it hurting, I'm fine with that. But one or the other has to come.
So how quiet is here in Havasu? I know when, of course, you retire, it definitely changes the day-to-day of who you hear from the industry stuff, but especially when you're not doing a brand ambassador deal, you're not at the races, you're not in California or Florida, you're in a different place. I mean, the phone is... I hit you up to do this on DM. I don't think you would have answered me a year and a half ago when you were racing.
Come on.
You would. But no, is it pretty mellow these days, per se? You still hear from your usual... per se buddies you're with, is mellowed out quite a bit?
I mean, it's mellowed out as far as who I hear from. Obviously, Martin, being one of his, best friends for 19 years now, 18 years, whatever it is. Scott Simon, Scuba, of course, and then Carlos and Thelma and A-Ray hits me every once in a while, but
probably when he wants something.
No, he just hits me up to say what's up. Like last time I heard from him was my birthday.
I wish he'd just hit me up to say what's up. He only hits me up when he wants something. Boots, bike parts.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's thinned down quite a bit. So, I mean, yeah, it's different. It's a different life being out here because I'm, I've done motocross my whole life. 27 years. I'm now 31 years. So. It's quite a bit different not being around it and not doing much. And yeah, if I lived in California, I'd probably doing a lot more with the industry. But I don't mind stepping away from it for a little bit to get a break and just, I don't know, get myself back straight to where, if something comes up down the road to where, I have an opportunity to work with someone, like Ezra did with me, maybe not travel as much as Ezra did with me, but, I would I would look into helping for sure. Do something different.
So you kind of did. That's kind of one thing. Is speaking on A-Ray and a couple guys. I mean, during your career, I definitely know she took a few people under your wing at different points. Who's some of the people you helped out with, and you enjoy doing that, like grabbing, kind of helping some guys that were on the cusp of actually being able to make it a living per se?
I mean, I enjoy helping kids like A-Ray who they don't have anything. You know, they struggle just to get from race to race. And obviously, if you looked at A-Ray beginning of the year, obviously he didn't know much about diet or anything like that either. So it was one of those things where I enjoyed taking someone like A-Ray and shaping him to give him the best opportunity to do what he can do. Maybe, you know, make the best living he could possibly make, but knowing, I mean, he weighed, what do you weigh? 200 and something?
I was gonna say 210 or something, probably when you guys started.
And he's what, 5'8", 5'7"? So I mean, like, yeah, he's on a 450, but yet you're racing against guys that are, you know, 130 pounds soaking wet.
Baggett. Maybe.
You know, Baggett, Webb, Marvin, even being 6'1", he still weighs $130. Yeah, but he's skinny, you know, and A-Ray wasn't. So we had to thin him out a little bit, get him back into shape. So when he goes to practice and he goes to the race, you know, he had confidence to where he knew he was going to make the full 20 minutes. You know, and it goes back to the days of, you know, Partridge, you know, helping Partridge out. He was coming to my house all the time and in Georgia, and so did Pike. You know, I helped Pike out as best I could, you know, not really training wise or anything like that. You know, I bicycles and whatever else I helped them with. But, you know, I loved Weston. I loved KP and A-Ray. But you got to think, for where I came from with Georgia, you know, there's so many people I can't even name. But there's just, I enjoy that. You know, I enjoyed helping people that, you know, yeah, I never got a dime from any of them. You know, it was just one of those things where I was fortunate to come up like that, and they weren't, but they wanted it so bad that they needed an opportunity. And I did the best I could to give themselves the best opportunity, which was get them into shape.
Speaking of Weston, this is not meant to be morbid, but we had this conversation. Are we to be physically worried for the next person to get your number? Because you're in it. Weston rides with it once, races with it once. Is it like the number 13? Do we need to put something on this, man?
You know, yeah. My last ride, obviously, ended my career on number 18. His first race might have ended his. And it's very unfortunate for Weston. You know, it was one of those things where there's no way, but you can't feel bad for him. You know, the dude, he had a lot of heart. He has a lot of heart. And he would try his best every single time. Yeah, people didn't like him. People loved him. It was one of those things, but that's everybody. But, you know, he wrote me about, you know, saying, hey, I'm going to run your number next year unless you're deciding to come back. And I'm like, I'm not coming back, you know, but represent my number good. Was not expecting that in return. But it's a bummer for Weston. And no, I don't think, you know, I think whoever, if he comes back and uses 18, which obviously 18 is going to be up anyway after this year. So whoever runs it next, I think they'll be all right. You know, Brock Sellers is the one who gave it to me. And I had it for 9 years. And then, you know, then Weston had it for a turn. And, you know, it's a good number, you know, but whoever runs it next better make both of us proud.
One I've always wanted to ask you now that the career is done. I don't know if you want to touch on this one. There was always a rumor flown around, like between your injuries and stuff, when the Rockstar team first went to Husky. I'm gonna put this one very. Oh yeah, guys, gee, I just shot myself in the foot. It was the KTM for the 1 year buy before the Husky thing. Jeez. Did you like the bike, that generation one? Because there was you know,
the KTM or the Husky.
Which one was it? There was a rumor flowing. Was it the KTM or Husky? Did you like either of them, basically, those first generations? Because it changed when you raced for Forrest's team later. I think you were on to the next chassis at that point. Yes. But the one that you would have had to ride at Rockstar, did you gel with that bike or not? Not saying good or bad, but did you gel with it?
I never rode it enough to figure it out. Everyone was like, oh, he didn't race. He didn't like the bike. He didn't race because of this. He didn't race because of that. In all reality, I didn't race because I was hurt. And, I should have raced the beginning of the year just to get my 5 races in and to take the one record for most consecutive races. But I didn't because I tore my ACL and my MCL, so I had to go get it fixed. And because I couldn't straighten my leg, could not at all. It was stuck in a bent position, and it would have been tough. So I flew overseas to have it done, and then I got back. But before all that, I obviously broke my foot and dislocated my ankle as well. So
repeat what you said earlier. If you're going to do it right.
I mean, I hit a little fun jump, landed with my foot on the side of the frame, and there it went. And I had a Jones fracture in my foot that just never healed, and we couldn't figure it out. So we had the one surgery, and they're like, yeah, it's healed. So I'm like, something's hurting, so just take it out. Take the metal out. So they took it out, didn't get any better. So I'm like, something is going on. I would ride, and all of a sudden, boom, it was just like I broke my foot again. And it wasn't getting better. I ended up having 4 surgeries on my foot throughout the year because we couldn't figure it out. And between that, you got to take 6 to 8 weeks between each one. So by the time we figured it out, we ended up having a plate and 9 screws put in there just to hold it. So, because it wasn't healing, it was only 40% healed, but it was on top and no one could see underneath of it or on the backside, whatever it was. And John Torregrosa from Florida finally figured it out and put a plate and 9 screws in my foot. And that's when I started riding again. Yeah. I tested the Husky, and I liked the bike. I did. I was able to ride. I enjoyed the bike. But it was something for me to, I went somewhere else, obviously, but I probably should have stayed. But yeah, no, it had nothing to do with the bike. It was 100% my ACL, my MCL, my dislocated ankle, and then the 4 surgeries I had on my foot that kept me out of 14. So.
Well, we're almost getting out here because I'm about right up to the minute I told you we would be at. So
you're good, man.
I got to finish my Supercross race. I think the heat already started. Never mind, my fantasy's out the window at this point. I'll probably do as bad as I've done every weekend so far. That's.
I think I've only watched one so far this year.
Really?
Yeah.
You not like watching these days, or? Yeah.
I don't have time.
Man, you're so busy.
We're at BMX races, and he races till about 10 o'clock at night usually on Saturdays. So today he's not doing anything, but the kids will want to watch something else. So,
you went through. I mean, you definitely had some of the teams you were with long relationships, but amongst everybody you raced for and stuff. I mean, if you could have picked, based on all the organizations you rode with, if you could pick one to have basically spent your whole career with, who do you feel like you clicked the most with and why?
I mean, that's a tough question. I've ridden them all. I loved Bobby and I loved Scuba, but I loved having Carlos as well. Carlos is like my second dad. He is probably one of the best things that stepped into my life at a young age. And I should have listened to him a lot more. But as far as team and stuff like that, I really gelled with the Rockstar team, but I also gelled with Forrest's team. It was just one of those things where it was just a different bikes at the time, so it's hard to say, different people. But I loved Forrest and just too much. I don't know, man. It's Honda was good to me too, when Kehoe was there. But I don't know. I'd probably have to. I mean, I can't pick a team. I just, I'm thankful for the opportunities that I had my entire career. It's a bummer that I wasn't able to give them more than what, I was hoping I could, especially in, the years that I could have. But I don't know, man. I think between Bobby and Forrest, they gave me everything they possibly could to try to get me to do something, and it's probably just between those two teams I think I gelled really good with. I just can't pick one.
Now it sounds like, of course, we've been talking a lot about your family situation now between you and your kids, but the rest of the extended family, how about you, your mom? I think a lot of people know there's definitely been a lots up and downs with you on that end. You guys good these days, or talk much, or?
Still the same.
Still the same. That answers that one.
It is that, she runs MTF. She has MTF. She does her thing on there, and I'm out here. So, maybe one day in the future, who knows? But right now, yeah, it's still the same. So, it's unfortunate by far. It's so unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it's I can't change it. So,
last one for you, and we'll get you out here then.
Yeah.
So, everything gets all healed up. I know, like I said, we've talked about what you would like to do, but just back to where it all started, dirt bikes. If you ever get to the point you're all cleared, do you want to ride much, or do you think it's cleared your system, or?
I don't own a dirt bike, so getting one would be the first step. Actually, healing would be the first step, and then getting a dirt bike. But I would love to ride again, and not people, but my in-laws and some of my friends always talk about it, and I'm like, if I'm gonna go ride, I really don't want to ride a stock bike.
Spoiled.
I haven't ridden a stock bike in years.
They're not that bad.
No, I know they're not that bad, but I'm not going to go get on an outdoor track. And at first, obviously, but I miss jumping. So if I'm going to ride, I want to ride a supercross track, at least just cruise around, hit the triples, hit the finish line, and I miss hitting the whoops too. So I want something that can handle that. Not as far as I don't want a stock bike to ride a stock bike because I'm spoiled. It's because of the stuff I want to do with the bike, and a stock bike on a supercross track is not fun. So for me, like I said, I think the most thing what I miss the most is actually jumping, and being in the air and just kind of floating and whatnot. And that to me is a supercross track. So.
It's funny to hear that one where, the majority of people listening to this never get to experience a supercross track. So none of us have a wrapped around feeling of, we think of it, you see the racing and the injuries, some of the aspects of it look sketchy, but it's hard to think of it like there's guys actually enjoy riding supercross if you have that skill set.
I enjoyed it. Obviously, I enjoyed outdoors too, and I had probably the most fun racing outdoors in Canada. It was absolutely amazing. But for me, supercross was, the bull turns, the whoops for me obviously were the big thing, and just jumping the triples in the finish line. You can just cruise. You can have a flow, and I miss that. Even if it's just one lap or two laps, and I have to go around the whoops, whatever it may be, I would love to just get back on a supercross track and just hit the jumps and call it good. So, and then go out in the desert with my son. That's all I want.
Hey, if you enjoyed this episode of the Off-Camber Podcast, but you don't want to continue to watch them here on YouTube, make sure you jump on your favorite podcast network. It is available on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much all the main places. You can subscribe and catch every episode there as well. But if you also like the content on this channel, make sure you hit subscribe for all my test videos, more podcasts, tech info, all kinds of goodies coming through the year.